Have you ever just stopped and watched your dog run? And I mean really watch them? It's incredible, right? Today, we're going to take a journey through a dog's life, from their clumsy puppy days all the way to their wise old senior years. And it's a story told entirely by their bones and joints. So let me ask you a question. What on earth could a puppy's cute little bunny hop have in common with something as serious as a broken bone? I know, they sound like they're from different planets, but you'll see they're actually two key chapters in the very same story. And to help us connect all these dots, I want you to meet Buddy. We're going to follow his story from the very beginning. His journey is going to be our map, helping us understand what these really complex medical things look like in the real world. Okay, so let's dive in. Our story starts right at the beginning, with a young Buddy who is basically just a fluffy bundle of energy. But his little growing body is about to face its first big tests. You know when Buddy gets the zoomies at the park? His owner notices this funny little thing he does. He kind of bunny hops with his back legs together. It looks adorable for sure, but to a veterinarian, that cute little quirk is actually a huge clue that something might be up. That bunny hop, well, it often points to something called canine hip dysplasia, or HD. And here's the thing, it's not really a bone problem, it's an instability problem. The ball part of the thigh bone is just too loose in the hip socket. And that looseness, or laxity, is the first domino to fall in what can be a long chain of joint problems. And this slide shows you exactly what I'm talking about. On the right, that's a nice healthy hip. See how the ball is tucked snugly into the socket? It's got great coverage. Now, look at the one on the left. Wow, you can see that huge gap, right? The ball is barely hanging in there. Every single step with that wobbly joint causes damage. So how do vets actually measure how loose that joint is? Well, one of the main tools is called the Norberg angle. They basically draw a line between the centers of both balls and then another line up to the rim of the socket. A nice tight joint gives you an angle of about 105 degrees or more. Anything less than that confirms there's just too much wiggle room in there. So what causes this? Well, it's complicated. Genetics are a huge piece of the puzzle, for sure, but it's not the whole story. Things like growing too fast, carrying a little extra weight, even something as simple as constantly running on slippery floors can make things worse for a puppy who's already at risk. But poor Buddy's puppy-era challenges aren't over just yet. His owner starts noticing something else, a weird little skip. He'll be running along and then suddenly lift one of his back legs for a step or two, and then poof, he's back to normal like nothing ever happened. What's that about? That classic little skip is pretty much the textbook sign of something called medial patellar luxation, or MPL. It literally means the kneecap, the patella, is popping out of the groove it's supposed to slide in. And it's super common, especially in smaller dogs like Yorkies, Poodles, and Chihuahuas. This image is fantastic because it shows how this problem progresses. Vets give it a grade from 1 to 4. A grade 1 is where the kneecap is mostly fine, but you can pop it out. But by the time it gets to grade 4, that kneecap is permanently out of place. That little skip Buddy does, that's the feeling of the kneecap popping out and then snapping right back in. So Buddy makes it through all those puppy growing pains and becomes this strong, happy young dog. But his bone story is about to take a really sudden and really dramatic turn. One day, there's an accident, a really bad fall. Buddy gets rushed to the vet, and he can't put any weight on his leg at all. It's a severe fracture. We're not talking about developmental issues anymore. This is a 5-alarm fire. And this x-ray just shows you the brutal reality of it. It's not a clean break. His ankle joint is, well, it's a mess. It's fractured and dislocated. The bones are in pieces. They're not lined up at all. There's really no debate here. Surgery is the only way to even begin to fix this. So how in the world do you start to repair a break that bad? This actually gets us into a really fascinating debate in veterinary surgery. What's truly the best way to help a bone heal itself? When a surgeon looks at Buddy's x-ray, they have two main philosophies to choose from. The first is what we could call perfect alignment. Think of it like putting a shattered vase back together piece by piece with superglue. The goal is zero movement. The second philosophy is perfect biology. This is less about making it look perfect on an x-ray and more like giving a vine a trellis to grow on. The goal here is to protect the bone's blood supply and allow tiny little movements that actually tell the body, hey, time to heal. And this table just breaks it down perfectly. With absolute stability, there's no movement, so the bone heals directly, usually with a compression plate. With relative stability, you get that micromotion, which tells the body to form a big healing callus. It's like the body's own natural cast, and for that, you'd use something like a bridging plate.
Buddy's surgery is a huge success. The bone heals, and he gets back to being a happy, active dog. But the stories written in our bones, they play out over a whole lifetime. So let's fast forward and check in on Buddy in his golden years. So here's Buddy. He's a senior dog now. He's a little slower getting up in the morning, a bit stiffer after a nap. That instability in his hips as a puppy and that really bad break he had, well, they finally caught up to him. Now he's dealing with a new challenge, chronic osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is just that, the wear and tear on a joint's cartilage, and it causes pain. And this is where Buddy's puppy days really come back to haunt him. That looseness in his hips put extra stress on that joint for years. And get this, the source material points out a crazy statistic. That early laxity can cause arthritis to show up a full 9 years earlier than it would in a dog with healthy hips. 9 years! Buddy's story has really walked us through it all, hasn't it? So what does this all mean for you and for your dog? How can we take all this information and use it to help them live their best, most comfortable lives? Well, step 1 is you have to become a super observer. Keep an eye out for those obvious things we saw with young Buddy, like the bunny hop or the skip. But as your dog gets older, the signs get more subtle. Are they thinking twice before jumping on the couch? Do they groan when they get up? Do their back leg muscles look a little smaller? All of those are signals. And here's the best part. There is so much you can do to help. Keeping your pet lean is probably the single best gift you can give their joints. Regular, gentle exercise, good nutrition, and simple things like putting down some rugs on slippery floors can make a world of difference. And of course, if you see any of the signs we just talked about, talk to your vet. When you really think about it, our pets' bones tell the entire story of their lives. It's a story of happy bounces, maybe some unlucky breaks, but most of all, it's a story of incredible resilience. And by understanding that story, we get to help them write the happiest ending possible.